Oh my god, look at my shoulders. Oh, I'm getting ripped. Oh my god. Okay, guys. So we are supposed to do some JavaScript, the role-playing game, but I'm thinking, like from yesterday and the day before this, if I studied JavaScript, thinking too hard at night, I wouldn't be able to sleep on time, and so I always end up sleeping at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then wake up at like 8, 7. Not too good for your health. But hey, so I need to find something else that I can study at night, but like a little bit less stressful, less thinking. Well, we have ReactJS. So we have ReactJS. Today we will going to do some. We will study some introduction for the ReactJS. So as you guys know, all you guys don't know, ReactJS is like a library for front-end developers that they use. There's like some plugins that they can use. For example, if you like a box, instead of like coding the box and then like styling the box itself with like HTML or JavaScript, ReactJS just say, you still a bitch, let me do this way more efficient than you guys. You guys are old, get out of my face. We can ReactJS can do pretty much everything. So probably one of the most important skill from front-end developers is to know ReactJS. Probably going to come up every single time that you apply for a job. Wait a minute, my friend just texted me something. Give me a moment. Guys, so probably one of the most, well, now is taking over Node.js. I don't know what Node.js and like I remember, if I remember right, Node.js and ReactJS has two different things that is built for different purpose. So ReactJS is probably one of the most needed skill for web developers nowadays, since if I remember right, you can build a whole website with just ReactJS, and you don't need HTML. You probably would need HTML, some HTML and some CSS, but ReactJS, really important stuff. We have to get the foundation right, get everything basic right, and then we can advance on to some harder things. And so yeah, but it's a little bit less intense than the last JavaScript that we did. I will do it tomorrow. I will continue with the role-playing game tomorrow, but tonight we will do some introduction to ReactJS. React or ReactJS? React. Just say React. Yeah, React, guys. Yeah, so we continue.
Hey
we do.
There, and welcome to the Learn React module. I'm super excited you're joining me for this course, because by the end you'll have built not 1, not 2, but at least 8 projects using React. There's so many of them, I don't even have time to go over each one of them in detail right now. I could barely even fit them on this slide.
Wow, look at all the projects.
So many projects? Well, it's because I designed the curriculum for this course to be project driven.
Guys, give me a second. I need to check something. Wow. So we are going to do
sections, we will
8
start
projects.
with the goal project that we are working toward, and then we'll learn everything we need in order to build that project.
All right.
In order for that approach to actually work, I'm going to be asking a lot from you. So let's talk for just a bit on how you can get the most from this course. Just like everything in life, what you put into this course is what you will get out of it. Or as
what you put in is what you get out. Simple, fundamental things. Life, what you eat in is what you poop out. well, that's the easy way that how you think about life.
I like to say my philosophy about learning is that the easiest way to learn something is to do it the hard way. In this course, I'm going to be asking you.
The easy way to learn something is the hard way.
To do a lot of the work.
Learn by doing.
For much of it, you'll have me
probably
there
the best.
After each challenge to walk
Tips.
you through a solution, but for some of it you won't. Either way, what I'm asking of you now is to avoid the trap of tutorial hell, where you end up passively watching me do all the work. Remember, this is not school. You're presumably here because you actually want to finish the course with the ability to write React code by yourself. School has taught a lot of us that the goal of learning is to get a good grade. In fact, I heard something really interesting that said that education is the only thing that humans try to get less out of than what they paid for.
Well, this guy is probably against school, but I feel like school could be an amazing place to open your connection to the world. Right? You have your friends, your colleagues. When you learn something on your own like this, yes, you are 100% like focused and you can do it whenever you want. But usually, a lot of time, you might run into something and you cannot ask your friends or like teachers. That would be a turn back. But for 15,000 bucks semester or something like that, maybe more if you go into like university or higher, it's going to be a lot more ridiculous. 40 grand a year, that would be cheap university. Usually 80 grand. But hey, school is an amazing place. You can do so many things in school that is could potentially help you later on in life, right? And so now we will do some ReactJS. We will keep continuing with the video.
So don't let that be you in this course. If you really give it everything you've got, meaning you do.
But hey, learning online is absolutely amazing as well. You can do it as much as you want, and for people like me, I go like at an intense rate. I will study literally 6-8 hours, 10 hours sometimes, if I really need to. 12, 13, 14. I remember there's one time I study until 3 and then wake up at like 7. That doesn't sound like a good way of studying. If you do it long term, you probably would die. But hey, it's just 1 day, 2 days, something like that. Really, you need to chase the deadline. But yeah, let's keep moving on with the videos.
All the challenges and projects, you're involved with the community, and you are an active participant in your own learning, I can promise that you'll probably finish off in a better spot than many students getting their degree in computer science. And I really don't say that lightly. Along those lines, remember that spaced learning and repetition are your best friends. Binging the course from beginning to end, even if you are doing all the assignments, is kind of like trying to run an ultra marathon without training. Your brain actually needs rest, so take breaks often. By taking this course, the goal isn't just to get to the end, it's to get to the end with some honest goodness React skills. Then after you come
Yes, like I think I there's a lot of thing that I remember from this course, and compared to the course that I learned from school, because like at the beginning, school was just too easy for me. I was like, oh, I was just going to slacking off, and I still get really good grade until like things start to going a little bit complex, and I start falling, and then there's this come harder. Not because I don't want to study, I love studying, but it's just at the beginning it's such a easy that it makes me, oh, why would I study this, right? Now it's like, okay, I go at my pace. I go through fast through the things that I know, and then I go slow and steady at the things that's new and the thing that's important. Important things you should go slow, steady, understand. Overall, the idea of what the lesson is going to be. Understand the code, understand the syntax, understand the rules, like how should you use it, when should you use it, where should you use it. A lot of things, but overall, I prefer studying on my own like this because I can go fast. But sometimes it feel lonely. And sometimes it's like, I would love some friends that can study with me. Yeah, we have Discord, but like, who would go there and like text, chat? Probably nobody. I only go there. I probably would only go there if I need a job, and I post my resume and stuff like that onto Discord, and then people from Scrimba could recommend me somewhere else. But hey, let's move back to the videos.
This course on maybe the next day, don't be afraid to rewatch lessons and even redo some of the.
Exactly, this is the things that I like about online study, is that you can rewatch past lesson. In uni or school, you don't have that luxury, but you pay way more for that. You pay way more for it, but you don't get to rewatch what you learn. They expect you to, oh, you remember all of this, right? You should ask the teacher when you don't remember stuff. You cannot do it on your own. But hey, let's move on.
Repetition really is your best friend whenever you're trying to learn something new. So what should you already know coming into this course? Before jumping into React, you should have a solid grasp of the fundamentals of web development, namely HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and preferably a pretty solid understanding of the new syntax that was introduced back in ECMAScript 6, ES6, and above.
ECMAScript 6.
On any of these topics, you can click the logo for each of these, which will send you to another free course here on Scrimba, where you can brush up on those.
Let me see this. Yes, 6. Tutorial teach more JavaScript through. Okay, I think I did this before.
Skills. My name is Bob Zerol. I'm going to be your
Bob Zerol. Let's go, Bob Zerol.
Username pretty much everywhere online is Bob Zerol, but these days I'm really most active on Twitter. You can click the Twitter icon to go to my profile if you want to follow me. That would be great.
Man, we need to expand our social media range to Twitter's. Twitter sounds like a really good place. Good place. Not to how can I say it? Like Twitter's, just because we don't use Twitter that much in Vietnam. Maybe I would have to open a Twitter's. Twitter sounds really fun. Fun in a way that you can open to many connections. It's just like, I would say it's a funniest version of LinkedIn. I don't know. I haven't used it that much to truly understand what Twitter is really about. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So my YouTube videos, stuff like that, I just recognize patterns that really could help me in the future, and I will share it to you guys. Well, let me go to my YouTube, and there's like a patterns that like a pattern that's like really interesting. Like, so usually I was thinking, hey, my video would do well if I upload it around 5 or 6, or like somewhere before 9 p.m. And I was like, so let me try and upload it at right 7. And that video doesn't do well at all. Doesn't do well. And so I was watching all of my short back. Not watching all of it, watching the analytics back, and then I realized that most of it need time to mature. Usually it's going to take like 5 to 10 hours, 12 hours sometimes, in order for the content to mature. I feel like YouTube is like, oh, recommend me just to a few people that I know. Oh, now they likes it. Now we are going to introduce it to new people, which is like this spark right here. It's all happened to a lot of my videos, a lot of my shorts. Right, let's go to the best one right here. Probably the one that has the most view. It's take time to mature. This one take like 12 hours to mature. Yep, here, and then is boom. Look at that. From 3 hours, it gains around 400 views, which it need to take around 12 hours to mature, right? So I don't really know what is really the secret sauce over here. This one I uploaded at 7, and then the other day wake up. Let's go to this one and let's see. Not this one, the other one. This one I uploaded it in at 9 yesterday, so it's not really the best optimal time. So when I study about this, I realized that the hours that's actually going to gain a lot of traction is going to be around 6 to 7. Why? Because people usually finish eating at like 6:30, and now they're on their phone from 7 to 8 to 9. Here 9 is like at the end of it, at the peak, and then 10, 11 they try to go to sleep, like hanging around with the kids. Not sure, but this is how I'm just trying different time frame, so seeing which time frame is like the best, the most optimal one. I might be super delusional about this, but that is the pattern that I see. But the pattern is, it takes a few hours to mature. This one take around 8 till 1, so like 13. This one take around 5 hours to mature, and boop, and then now it's like a little bit stagnant. I don't really know why. I haven't figured out the second patterns that's going to be in the short. I recognize the first one, the first patterns right here. Not the second part. Not the second part, but now we go back to our ReactJS course. Right? Boom.
In the first section of this course, we're going to be learning everything we need
Static page.
to build a basic page using React. And I know what you might be thinking, but I already know how to make static web pages. I know you're probably super excited to really dive in and learn dynamic web applications with React, and we are going to get there in this course.
Ooh, woohoo!
To start off, this section is all about learning the basic syntax and you could say the vocabulary of React. Because I found that the best approach to learning React is to first start learning how to think in React. The reason for this is because React really does kind of change the game in terms of how you build applications. Later in this section, we are going to start learning the differences between declarative and imperative programming. And you're going to find that React approaches web development in a completely different way. So the point is, we're first going to be dialing in our brains to start thinking in terms of using React to build websites. First, building some static web pages, not unlike the ones that you normally would just use HTML and CSS for. So this might not seem terribly exciting right now, but I think you'll soon see that writing composable, reusable components in React can actually be a bit addicting and pretty fun. So I know that you'll find a lot of benefit in starting off with the book before we get to the bulletin board. Of course, we have a vegetarian option as well.
Oh man, vegetarian. Who actually be a vegetarian? Who would? Oh, I love meat. Meat is like probably the best.
Forward by the goal of creating our first static web page in React, and that's the page you see here in the screenshot that has a list of fun facts about React.
Wow.
This screenshot is actually also a link to the Figma file for the design of this page. So if you click the screenshot, it will open up.
Let me see this. Figma.
You'll have to make sure that you log into your Figma account. If you don't have one yet, it's free to create. And clicking the screenshot will lead you to a...
Hopefully my stream is not crashed. Don't crash, don't crash. We're not crashing.
Everyone will have access to. In that shared file, you'll see something near the top that looks kind of like this, where it's got React facts and then this little drop-down arrow. Your best bet is going to be to click that drop-down arrow, go over to duplicate to your drafts, and click that. Duplicating this design to your own drafts is going to make it possible for you not only to edit the design if you want to change it a little bit, but also to help you avoid any distraction you might see on the design page of anybody else's cursors or maybe some comments that they may have left. So I'll go back to this design here. Make sure to click on it now so at least the URL gets saved up in your tabs in your browser. And lastly, we're going to look at the different topics that we'll be covering in this section. So what are we going to learn about? Well, first we're going to learn why we even care about React in the first place.
If you not care about React as a web front-end developers, you're probably trolling. You're probably trolling. Why? Well, because React is really important. It's really like highly used in the field. It's highly popular. It's highly. It's like the you know, like in the triangle, you have like the top is probably ReactJS nowadays. HTML, CSS, lower tier, JavaScript in the middle, and then ReactJS is probably the first one.
React a much simpler one because you'll be so excited about what you'll be able to create. We'll also be talking about a proprietary React syntax called JSX, and we'll get to see how that sort of changed the game for React and made writing React a much more familiar experience. And then we'll dive into creating custom components and all buttons and how to actually do that yourself in React. And of course, in order to build our project, we're going to need to know how to apply CSS styling. Again, the goal is for us to be able to build this simple static page in React. I'm really excited for us to get started. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the deep end.
Woo! Let's go. We are going into the first ReactJS React page that we are going to do.
Before we just jump right into theory and why we care about React and how all the little pieces of React work, I want to get my hands on the keyboard typing some React code as soon as possible, mostly just to show you that React is not a scary library to be working with. So let's see how we can.
It's probably easy because like it's simplified.
Easy way to set up React in your project and a correct way of setting React up in your project. For our sake in learning, we're going to start with the easy way, which will also make it so that you can actually just do this in your local environment. Hopefully you're following along here on Scrimba.com, but if you're curious or interested, you can always do this in your local environment. Now you can see I have a very basic HTML page set up. I have nothing in my JavaScript at all. My CSS is minimal, and we're going to walk through this together. Now, I have some slides here, and you can actually click on this screenshot, and that will send you to this exact page. In the React documentation, it tells you how you can include React into your project. And we can actually pull in these libraries that we need straight from a CD. In other words, we can just copy these two script tags here and start writing React code. There's a little more to it, but what I'm going to do is click here, and that's going to open me up to the React page. I'm just going to copy the two script tags that you can see, and over in my index.html, I'm going to put it in the head here and fix the indentation. And I've pulled in the React library and another library called React DOM. Theoretically, this is all I need in order to start writing some React. Now, I'm going to take it one step further, and that's because just pulling in React and React DOM is going to be pretty extremely limiting in terms of
hello.
React, unless we also pull
Yes, I'm studying ReactJS. Yes, I actually need to do some. I having since guys, I have to ReactJS because the role-playing game I haven't finished, but I don't want to think too much at night. So if I think too much at night, I wouldn't be able to sleep. So studying some beginners stuff is going to be way better for me. Don't need to think that much. Usually the instructor speaking, and we would just follow along, and then yeah, hopefully we can get something out of this by the end of this. Yes, I'm studying ReactJS. ReactJS, this is like the beginner course for ReactJS, and yeah, ReactJS is really important as a front-end dev. So we should take the slow, and then at some part we can speed up, and then yeah, but the pace, the theme for this ReactJS course is going to be slow and steady. Slow and steady. We will be having some amazing result by the end of this. Right.
I'm going to jump in too deep into why we need to do Babel. For now, all I'm going to do is click on this screenshot here, which will take me again to a page where I can copy the script tag that you see. And I will paste that in underneath this script tag. And if we look really closely below here, it says you can use any JSX. We'll cover what JSX is later in any script tag by adding type equals text/Babel. So I'm going to do that here in my script tag down here. Type equals text/Babel. And that's all the setup we really need. By pulling in the React-DOM library in this script tag, I now have access to a global variable called React-DOM. I'm going to use that to render something to the screen. Once again, I'm going to be covering everything that we're talking about here. It's totally okay if this is moving pretty quickly. React-DOM.render allows me to render something that looks very much like HTML. Now, this might be blowing your mind a little bit because probably looks a little strange writing some HTML inside of my JavaScript.
What is it? ReactJS F8. Let me search that. Is it really good? Let me paste that in. Let me paste that in. Let me paste that in. Ah, wow. Let me subscribe this. Ooh, that's sexy. I might look into this later on, but what I'm trying to do is trying to stick with Scrimba. Yeah, thank you. I will look into it, but I want to stick with Scrimba because if I don't finish this module or any module over here, there's no certificate given, so we should always stick with one thing, and then we can look somewhere else, like when we are not studying. But now, yeah, ReactJS F8. It's good. Let me see. Full stack. So it's basically a community, studying community where they share coding knowledge for everyone. Every course is going to be what's it? It is hard to going from Vietnamese to English. Is all of the course are invested really are invested, are really detailed invested. What? Oh well, Vietnamese is yes. Wow, they have a lot of project over here. Might be really useful. It is going to be and they have a chill playlist. Wow, this is great. I what, like there's not a lot of page like this doesn't get a lot of recognition, right? They only have 80 subs. Well, people don't really watch it a lot, but this is like so useful. Most popular JavaScript. This is like a school for this. Wow, I didn't know this. Check playlist. Ooh, that's sexy. Guys, we will look into it at the end of this.
We're going to see how this is kind of one of the beautiful things that React has added so that we can write really declarative code. Now, let's put something inside this H1 that's meaningful. We had hello here. Maybe I'll say hello, everyone. Okay. In my index.html, I'm going to get rid of this H1 so we're not confusing this H1 with what I'm seeing over here. Now, react-dom.render, the first thing is what do I want to render to the screen? The second thing is where do I want to render it? Well, let's go to our HTML, and I'm going to create a div here, just a completely empty div, and I'm going to give it an ID so that I can select root, because this is going to be like the root of our entire application. I like to think of this div as a container for the entire website that we're going to build in React. Let's put something inside this H1 that's meaningful. We have hello React over here. Maybe I'll say hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
My index.html, this H1, so we're not confusing this H1 with what I'm seeing over here.
Okay.
DOM.render, the first thing is what do I want to render to the screen? The second thing is where do I want to render it? Well, let's go to our HTML, and I'm going to create a div here, just a completely empty div. I'm going to give it an ID so that I can select it. We'll call it root, because this is going to be like the root of our entire application. I like to think of this div as a container for the entire website that we're going to build in React. And now that I have a place where I can put my H1 here, I'm going to select it with a regular DOM API document.getElementById root. And surprise, we've written some React code. I'm going to hit save. We'll see that it tells me hello everyone.
Wait, let's just analyze the. You can try studying at F8. I have studied and found it extremely good. Yes. Yeah, I will look into F8. But the thing now that I want to mid to just one. But F8 could be like a additional like what F8 could be like an additional information where whenever I stuck on something, I could go and look at F8 and let's see if there is a solution for it. Well, why my brain is so slow today? These days my brain's so slow. I talk slow, talk like a dumbass. But hey, let's move on to this, right? What is that? It's 9:45. Getting a little bit sleepy. Let me think that I can drink anything that to make keeping me up. We should be doing this for like 2 hours, so like 9 to 11, and then we go sleep. But just let's analyze this text, right? This line of code. So it's basically render out H1, hello everyone, document.getElementById. So you basically paste it in. You basically put this into the root, right? Document.getElementById. Well, what is this call? How do you do this? And then this, and then open. Let's see, what does it mean? What does it mean? Char and then containers. Char and then containers.
I was able to use React to insert something that looks very much like an H1. Obviously, this is a little different because we're still inside JavaScript. And I was able to put it right inside of this real DOM element in our index.html. Now, I have an entire lesson that's dedicated to understanding exactly what's going on here. But in an effort to get your hands on the code, get a quick win for you to see that you can write React and it's not too scary, I'm going to give you a few seconds of silence where you can pause the screencast and study this line of code, and then I'll be erasing it and letting you type it again from scratch. In fact, let me write that down as a little challenge here. Okay, pause the screencast here, spend just a minute memorizing this line of code. Do that now.
Bom 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 bim blim.
I will add a little code for the next part. Okay, your time to shine. Rewrite the line of code as best you can from memory. You don't have to put hello everyone or hello React or whatever. You even don't have to use an H1 like I did. You can put whatever HTML you want in there. So pause the screencast now and work on that.
We'll rewrite the line of code. So we do, what is it? ReactJS. What is search? React.js, right? React.dom something. Well, this line of code is quite hard, no? React DOM dot renders React DOM dot renders is going to be open parentheses, we do h1. There's no autocomplete on this. This is going to be goodbye. Document dot get element by ID, open brackets, do this, and then roots, right? Roots for roots. Good, that's good. First line of JS, ReactJS. First line of ReactJS. Not too shabby.
Called React. So that's the element that I want to render, that I need to include with React DOM.render is, you could think of it as a DOM node that I have to go select get element by ID, or because I can also get DOM nodes with something like query selector, that would work just as well. In this case, I'd have to put #root because that's how query selector works. It's the ID of root. This isn't confusing. We'll just keep it as get element by ID for now, but just so you know, either one should work just fine. So the first parameter is what do I want to place on the screen, and the second one is where should I be placing this. I imagine under the hood, what render is doing is it's taking this DOM element that we are grabbing with get element by ID, and it's running something similar to .append or .append child to it. And what is it appending? It's appending this paragraph. You're going to see that it's a little more complicated than that, but that's a good way to kind of build a mental model for yourself as to how this is actually working.
Nice.
I haven't refreshed the page yet, which is why this still says hello everyone. I'm going to hit save, which will refresh my browser, and there we go. Hi, my name is Bob. This time it's a
Bob
instead of a header element, and that's awesome. We have written React in a single line of code. You might have noticed that the console is popping up with this error. You're using the in-browser Babel transformer. Be sure to pre-compile your scripts for production. A bunch of jargon here that may not totally make sense to you. But our console, and there we go. It's a model for yourself as to how this is actually working. So I haven't refreshed the page yet, which is why this still says hello everyone. I'm going to hit save, which will refresh my browser, and there we go. Hi, my name is Bob. This time it's a paragraph instead of a header.
My name is Bob.
That's awesome. We have written React.
My name is Bob.
You might have noticed that our console is popping up with this error. You're using the in-browser Babel transformer. Be sure to pre-compile your scripts for production. A bunch of jargon here that may not.
What the fuck?
And that's fine. That's a symptom of us setting up React the easy way instead of the correct way. Soon down the road, we'll be kind of shifting our setup here, and then warning will go away. And awesome. Okay, because this is Scrimba, you can always delete this. If maybe you won't be able to memorize that, you can try deleting it and rewriting it again from scratch. Practice with it.
React DOM.renders blah 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 blah.
Now, I have found it really helpful for my own learning to understand why I did it. So in the next couple of screencasts, we're going to be looking about some of those really awesome benefits that come with using React as our library for building web applications. But as always, if you want to spend more time with this, go ahead and do that. Pause, click into the editor, start typing what you want to type, practice it. And when you're ready, I will see you in the next lesson. Surprise! If you know my teaching style, I wanted to practice it here. Essentially, we're just rewriting that same line of code that we just wrote in the last lesson. However, this time we'll extend it just a little bit. I want you to see if you can figure out how to render an unordered list with 2 or more list items inside. Last time we just rendered a paragraph. You can see it's still kind of left over here. If I refresh that, that'll disappear. I've left the entire setup here for you. We're still pulling in the script tags for React, React DOM, and Babel. So essentially your main focus is just to rewrite that same one-liner of code, but see if you can figure out how to add a couple more elements.
right? Try to rewrite that line. So we do react dot dom react dom dot renders. Try to write that one line in your code. This time, see if you can figure out how to render a UL with 2 RI inside. Wait, let's see if we can do this. UL slash this UL, right? And then we do this. We have two lists, right? Two lists, 2 li, and then slash li slash li. Right. 2 li is going to print, and it's going to be 2 bullet points for now. So now what we are going to do is we are going to take it. We are going into our DOM document that get element by ID. Going to be here is going to be root. Let's see, root and save. Works. Run. Doesn't work. Yes, it works. It works. So basically you need to take what you are going to render, and then where should it be rendered at. So here there's no, let's say hello stream. So now this UL is going to be shoved because it's not print, it's shove it into the root. So you have the roots right here, shove it inside this div, and then hello stream. There we go. Simple, easy peasy lemon squeezies. He did it the complex way. The complex way is you just write it on one line. I like to break it down so I can understand the code. One time is all it takes. One more dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Scrimba editor, which will pop up a little menu here, and there's an option that says download as zip. That will download a zip file containing the files that we're working on here. You can uncompress that like you normally would as a zip file and open that up in any editor that you'd like, for example Visual Studio Code on your own machine. Now in order for that to run, I'm going to show you what that looks like on Visual Studio Code. Inside of Visual Studio Code,
live service
in this screenshot,
oh.
a menu icon for some extensions, and you'll need to search for an extension called Live Server. It's created by Ritwick Day, and you'll need this installed to your VS Code in order to run the code that we have written in React. So you'll click the little install.
Wait, let me grab some milk first. Mama. Oh shit.
That's going to
Live service.
Is click that go live button, which will open a web page on a local server. I think it's maybe port 5000 that it runs, and live.
Wait, this is actually good. Good. I think I will need to download that first. For my this is my portfolio, guys. If you are interested in my portfolio and you want to see me build it from scratch, yeah, you guys can check out some of that stream. One time is all it takes. Install this. So you can see it from here as well. Brilliant. I download the wrong one for this. Right. Now we cancel this and then we go back. ReactJS.
Will open a web page on a local server. I think it's and that should launch your own React project on your local machine. Soon move toward a different setup for React that includes Webpack and downloaded dependencies from npm and so forth. This is no longer going to work in quite the same way, but for now, for those that are curious, I thought I might just explain how you can get this set up on your own machine. Let's keep moving forward with the course. Let's spend a little bit of time understanding why we even care to learn React. One of the main reasons that people will talk about is how React allows us to write composable code.
Composable code.
What do I mean by composable? Well, an analogy that I came up with has to do with Scrimba. Of the statue of David.
Ooh.
The statue was created originally from a single giant block of marble that was then sculpted down to the sculpture that we know today. So in the end, what results is one giant single piece that makes up this piece of art. Now, what if instead of starting with one giant piece, we instead used a bunch of small pieces to put together something that is greater? These are Lego bricks that obviously are small, each in their own right, that were put together to create something large. In this example, they all kind of work together to accomplish a goal, so to speak, the goal of the Statue of David. Now, this example is not perfect because the original Statue of David obviously is more beautiful than this replica made of Lego bricks. But hopefully the concept makes sense. Let's look at an example in actual. What I have here is copy and pasted from the Bootstrap website. If you're not familiar with Bootstrap, that's really not important right now, but it's enough to know that these 30 or 40 lines of code, copy and pasted from the Bootstrap website, represent a navigator that is pre-styled. Now, in the old days of web development, a single page on a website was usually a single HTML page. So if this is just the nav bar, a lot of times those web pages would end up being thousands and thousands of lines of HTML code, essentially making it one giant sculpture. Well, with modern frameworks like React, we can take code like this and we can put it into our own custom components. And we can put those components together to make something that is larger. But in our case, our code becomes a lot more maintainable and a lot more flexible. See, I've given these kind of silly names to show you that these are not regular HTML elements. I can combine elements together that are real HTML elements, like you see here, into my own custom component called, for example, my awesome navbar.
Well, now if you are like a fucking genius, you can actually sell like your component, web component that you design and then sell it online somewhere. I don't know.
Syntax of React quite yet, but I'm going to give you a taste of it in a chapter 1. So let's see this in practice. Over here you can see I have my React DOM.render and I'm rendering a custom component called navbar. And if I you'll get a chance to see how I created this. As a quick aside, one thing you might notice is that I've got class name everywhere instead of class. That's not a mistake, that's just how you have to assign classes in React. We're going to cover that later. But for now, I'd like to give you a challenge that's going to require you to deduce what I've done here and try to replicate it for yourself. So let me put that here. Okay, your challenge is to see the navbar component that I have created, so you can do create your own component. It can return something really simple like a single h1 element, and afterwards I want you to render it below the figure out how to render it below the navbar. Now I've changed this a little bit for reasons that we'll talk about soon, but this line here, 51, this is where you're going to figure out how to render your own custom component main content. Just build your custom component looking at my example above to try and figure out how to do that. And secondly, render that component down here in React.render. Also screencast.
Function navbar and then return. This is a function. So you have to be, it's going to be a function, and function basic. It's a basic function in JavaScript, but instead of returning a what is it, template string, you return it with the HTML, right? Okay. What is this function is going to be called?